Hey, everybody. Thank you for taking that first bite of your sandwich here at lunchtime on the East Coast. It's at 12 noon, Carm Capriato, and it's another CarmCast. We have been really rocking the CarmCasts in the last week. This may be my fourth one that may have something to do with COVID-19. And every one of them has been just slightly different. And, Pete and I actually had this thing already scheduled, and I think it's just a perfect time to get together with Pete Meier, Director of Training, Automotive side of Motor Age ABRN and Motor Age Training. Hey, Pete, welcome.
Hey, Carm.
You're in Florida. I'm up in
Yes,
Buffalo, New York. Is
right.
is this what's the press saying about all the worries you have down there?
Well, I think a big thing for us down here, of course, that we have some hot spots like the Miami Broward area are pretty hard hit. Nowhere near like the Tri-City area that is making the news, of course. And I'm sure that many of those who are watching are aware that our governor has encouraged folks flying down here from the Tri-Cities that when you get down here, you need to self-quarantine to keep your cooties to yourself.
Wait a minute. So you're saying they don't want the New Yorkers down there, huh?
Oh, it was short of that. It was short of that. There were some that were calling for a complete ban, on flights from that area. But with all the other ways in, and the government made a little bit of sense there. You could close off the highways, check everybody coming across the state lines, but then what are you doing to the commerce? What little is still able to transpire, you're going to be slowing down the supply chain of needed materials getting to the states and to the people who really need them. So, hey, it's like anybody else. You can only expect everybody to think of one another, in this time and take the steps that you can take to minimize the spread.
No doubt we're going to get through it, Pete. Thanks again for being here and, maybe bringing some optimism to everything that we're so concerned and worried about. I don't mean to be a pessimist at all, but I think the information that our industry needs to have and to get out. In fact, your magazine's doing great stuff by making as many people aware through the writers and many of the publications that you have. But I've decided on the homepage of my website to put in a really special red section. Don't ask me why everything is red when it comes to COVID-19. But I have a section of every podcast that we've done, every panel that we've discussed, every CarmCast that we have that has anything to do with it. And when I look back and I see the things that we've done, some pretty really intelligent stuff that has come out, not from me and not from CDC, but from the real hardworking shop owners that are out there and how they're looking and to attack this issue and to keep their businesses whole. So we were hanging out at Vision, and you got sick.
Yeah, I think a lot of us got sick. Yeah, we did.
I came out of Vision with a terrible cold, but you're okay now, right?
Yeah, and I think that's another important point for everybody to remember. I mean, the last numbers that I saw that we still have the flu season going on, and there have been thousands of deaths related to the flu, and we tend to forget that statistic. What's making the coronavirus, I think, that much more problematic is that it's hitting at the same time as the flu infections are going on, and because it is so easily spread with no type of treatment or vaccine currently available. But I think, like you said earlier, it's one challenge that we'll meet, we'll overcome, we'll learn from. It's one of those rare things that happen in history. But again, what you to the shop owners that you were talking about, like we were talking before we got on the air, the men and women who are operating these independent businesses, they're using the same skills that they use to get their businesses started to overcome the situation. They're thinking outside the box. They're using the same motivations that got them to open up their doors on their own in the first place. So I have all faith and confidence that you'll be okay. You'll get through it.
No doubt. And I know that I broadcast to the top 20% in the industry, and I encourage them to get the rest of our industry to come forward with us and to learn things and network and, commit to training. And I think never there's been a better time for someone who may be in the struggle mode to stop and say, ear to ground, or Houston, hello, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
and seek that help. Hey, you've got a great story to tell us about Max.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that at Vision. It kind of prompted the episode today. I was invited to participate in a panel discussion at Max that was kind of talking about the various challenges that face us as an industry, and I have to admit, when I first got up and they asked my opinion, um, I had to tell the attendees there that you're probably not going to like what I got to tell you. So let me kind of explain that a little bit. You know, all too often we hear in discussions, whether they're over a beer at an event or part of a more formal panel, is this reference to the industry. The industry needs to do this, and the industry needs to do that, or change whatever. And I got up to this panel, and I asked the audience at Max. I said, "Could you point out this guy, the industry?" You know, because I'll take him out in the hallway and work him over a little bit because of all the issues he's caused us. You know, but the reality is, everyone who's watching, everyone who makes a living in this industry, no matter what position you're fulfilling or what level you're at, anywhere from the guy cleaning the bathrooms to the CEO at Ford, we're all part of the industry, and the challenges that we're talking about are things that we've been talking about since as long as I can remember. We can't wait for someone else to enact the change. We have to take that responsibility, just like you're doing now in meeting this coronavirus pandemic. You know, you're taking the steps that are unique to you and your community to protect yourself, to protect your employees, to protect your customers, and to keep your doors open. These are the same kind of thought processes you need to do for the bigger picture. What can you do in your community to improve the industry's image, to let the young people know that this is a viable industry to become involved in? So many different things that you can do. And up to that, that's the next question that I asked the attendees at Max. I asked for all the shop owners to raise their hands, and numerous people did. And then I asked them, with you folks who have your hands raised, how many of you are involved in your local school program on the Industry Advisory Council? And I think all but 2 hands remained. And that, again, that was just, hey, guys, this is just another example. You need to get up and do something positive. If you're needing new technicians or you're looking to grow your shop, that's your farm team. And the next question I asked was of the instructors, the teachers in the room. How many of you guys and gals are here? Several people, of course, raised their hands there as well. And I asked them, I said, so how many of you would be ecstatic to have the people who just had their hands up show up at your school to be part of your Industry Advisory Council? And of course, everybody, yeah, absolutely. And then my question to them was, okay, so when was the last time that you got off the campus and went out to visit those shop owners in your area? And again, the hands came down. And that's just a challenge I'm going to place to everyone watching here. Whether you're a shop owner, even if you're a technician, there are things that you can do to make a difference, to improve the image of the industry. Maybe you tuck your shirt in. You know, maybe you're not smoking a cigarette when you're talking to the consumer. Something that small. Nowadays, you got to make sure you disinfect the car when you get out of it, right? You have to make sure you wipe down the steering wheels and the door handles and return to the customer to make sure you don't accidentally get something from them or pass something to them. So there's little things that you can do. If you're a shop owner, how about an open house when we get to the point where people can come back out of their houses again, and show them your shop, show them the pride that you have in your business and what it really takes to maintain their vehicle. How about maybe a career day at the middle school? Maybe something hands-on that you can get the kids to get involved with. Support the local STEM program. I could really go on and on, so I'll kind of stop myself there. But
I am so thrilled you said this because, hell, I've been on my pulpit a lot speaking of the same things. And Pete, for you to embarrass that group in front of you, and I don't
well,
mean that, and I
yeah,
don't mean that you did. I
no,
think what you did is you tried to do a little shock treatment on them to realize that the partners that are in this room are not partners the way they should be. And
yeah,
and and you're right. I mean, I'm involved in education. I'm on an advisory council of our local community college. why aren't you? I mean, that's the point. And I love the educators visiting the shops. That's, to me, just way up there. That's a huge piece. STEM class. A friend of mine uh, does a STEM class at his shop, where he brings in the young kids from middle school along with their parents, and
Mhm.
he teaches them the science, technology, engineering, and math of that automobile, and blows their minds. And so you're right. We talk about this stuff, but maybe now, once COVID gets behind us and we're looking to, I believe, reinvent our businesses in a new way of doing business, because we're still here. We're an essential part of the industry, yes. And as I've been saying on a couple of most recent podcasts, you need to become the transportation centerpiece of your marketplace.
Mhm.
Make sure the foods are running, and the nursing homes vans are right, and again, just donate and just get your hand up there and say, I'm here to help. We're open because we're essential. Let me be essential for you.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
Let me be essential for you. So here we are, is supposed to be practicing social distancing, 6
Yeah,
feet.
I think we got that covered.
We do. You and I have that covered for sure. I know shops are doing an awful lot of great disciplines to be sure that no one catches anything that could come in from the outside. But Pete, I couldn't help but think the power that I just read an article that Netflix and YouTube are going to reduce the quality of the products that they put out into homes. They're going to reduce to basic quality, meaning the bandwidth is getting so tight.
Yeah,
And and we've all decided to become onliners. If that's the right word. We're
yeah.
home. What do we do? I'm going to do an interview tomorrow with 3 educators that had, from post-secondary automotive, that have had to figure out how to do their theory classes online when they never did before. And I
Right.
think it's going to be a great episode to teach all of us what education needs to do and what they're going to do to even graduate the seniors, get them their course requirements. So I'm driving toward online training, Pete, and the power and the value. It's been around forever, but maybe it's going to go up about 10 notches.
I think so. Well, I mean, for example, we've been doing our webcasts for almost a decade now, and when we started doing them with our friends up at TST, excuse me, one of the things that I want to make sure we did was to make it as hands-on as we could in an online environment. And what I mean by that, we want to make sure that we did everything we could in the shop, that if we could do it on a live vehicle, do it on a live vehicle, make sure that we're able to interact with those who are watching the live event. If they had a question or a comment or a concern, as much as we could make it as live as we could. And I think we succeeded in many of those cases. And in fact, I'm really proud to announce to everyone who's watching, if you haven't seen the announcement yet, then mark your calendar, April 9th, we will be hosting a free webinar sponsored by our friends at Autel on ADAS. And it's going to be the practical applications of ADAS, the calibration processes, why, even if your shop is not performing any of these or system repairs, you're not changing out radars or cameras or anything like this, you still have to be aware that a lot of the routine things that you're doing to the vehicle impact how those systems operate and may require a system calibration. And these aren't going away. If anything, they're just going to get more and more popular, more and more common on your vehicles that you're servicing every day. So I invite you to sign up for that. Again, it's going to be at May 9th. It's going to be held at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But just like all of our events, if you can't make the live event, then of course you can come back and view the recorded event at your leisure once it's done. So we want to make sure we get that out.
This is great, Pete. I just printed it off of a release of yours. It's the respect that you need to have for ADAS. If you touch a vehicle, you have to know all
Yes, sir.
about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and the gentleman that's co-presenting, many of you have probably know him, George Lesniak. He's been training for years. In fact, when I found out I was getting to work with George, I reminded him that he was actually my judge when I when I competed in the CTI Max AC Technician of the Year.
No.
He was a judge there. Oh, he was also my judge at our internal test as well. So if anybody's ever heard me tell my why I became enamored with voltage drop testing story, they'll remember George. So, but he's absolutely fantastic. He's a noted trainer, has a lot of credit to his years in the field. He's really going to be a great presenter. I can't wait to get a chance to sit there and work with him.
Okay, so online training, no doubt, is going to be more important and more critical than ever. Any other trends you're seeing, Pete?
I think we're seeing an increase in the desire for training. I think we're finally starting to see a turnaround and the number of people that know they need it and want to get it. I still think availability is a big issue. You just pointed out, look what we just learned from this whole coronavirus deal, all the events that had to be rescheduled, including ours.
Yeah.
So for those, again, who are watching that aren't aware, our May 9th event has been postponed to November 14th, but if you've already signed up, if you already got your room booked, you're good to go. You can go to the Facebook page and get more information. Of course, you can contact us directly for any questions that you have on that. And of course, you can still sign up. We still got some room there for you, so not a problem there. But again, to what you're saying, here are all these events that canceled, but the need for training hasn't stopped. So I think that you'll see more of us going online and getting those opportunities. And I can't really say anything official, but let's just say that we've always kind of been one of the front runners when it came to developing new techniques and new processes to help our readership. And we've got something in the works, so stay tuned. I think I'm very excited about what you might be seeing us release in another 30 days or so.
Good for you. Thanks. Pete, is there anything you can say to the technicians in our industry on how they can support the owners during this crisis?
I think it's really a team deal. We hear about that all the time when I worked in the shop, how you're part of the team. And I think that different shops have different levels of their internal team commitment. I think that path goes both ways. Shop owners, how are you supporting your team members? How are you going to help them get through this process? And then, technicians, man, do what you're getting paid to do. You're a professional. Do the best that you can every single day. Take a few extra precautions, like just common sense things. And I'm sure that the shop owners are doing everything they can to help you do that. It really has something you have to do together to make that work. On the normal day, I think one of the biggest things that I can encourage the shop owners is, and many of you, thankfully, and thank you, have embraced this viewpoint. You've got to create that culture of learning in your business. It can't be something that's an option. You want to create an environment where continuing learning is expected, and that you support your technicians in that goal. That's one of the things, Carm, I'm sure you and I both heard a lot of from people who have been able to manage to make these bigger events. They get support. You've seen the difference. You have shops that close down, bring everybody to the event, and then you've got those who come out on their own dime and are upset because the shop owner didn't want to give them the time off or help them get the training. And of course, they're a direct beneficiary of that increased skills that technician brings home. And I'm going to tell you what I tell those guys. I said, if your shop owner's not supporting you, then find another shop. I mean, this time right now, with everybody looking for good techs, if you're one of those A/B techs that is trying to be better, then there's a shop owner that's dying to have you on his team.
Boy, I hear that story a lot. In fact, I've heard some exact examples of technicians being at an event, meeting some other people from their marketplace, discovering that they paid for the entire shop. They closed it to be there. And he goes, hey, I want to work for a place like yours because I'm here on my own dime. And commitment to training. I mean, that's your name. That's what you guys call what you're doing, right? In November 14th, commitment to training. That's not only just the title of a seminar. That's the strategy that needs to happen inside of our shops.
Yeah, and that's our commitment as a publication, as a group, to our audience, to our readership. We want to help to give you the resources all that we can We want to let you know about all the events that are out there for your selection to help you get to ones that are close by or within your pocketbook. We want you to know what's available online, and of course, we want to make sure that you're choosing quality content. You're not just hitting up some guy on YouTube just because he's got a bunch of subscribers. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to learn anything from that.
Great point. Well, Pete, thank you for being here and sharing your perspective on
Thanks.
not only training and commitment to training and your view of getting us all through the coronavirus. You're such a well-respected person in the industry, and it was my honor to host you here for these last 20 minutes to get the Pete Meier perspective on things.
Yeah, for what it's worth. And I appreciate it, Carm. I appreciate the opportunity to come see you again.
Meier, Director of Training, Motor Age, ABRN, Head of Motor Age Training. Pete, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.